Hello, Parsboro Community Radio listeners. Welcome to Exploring the Neighborhood with your hosts, Thor and Debbie, here on CICR 99.1 on your FM dial. We'd like to thank Kanza as the sponsor for our show.
For those of you who are not aware, Kanza is Cumberland County's only Careers Nova Scotia Centre and a vital participant in this area's road to prosperity. This year, Kanza is celebrating 15 years of serving the area and providing valuable employment and educational opportunities. Our goal for Exploring the Neighborhood is to take you on a series of half-hour adventures that include road trips, candid interviews, and commentaries.
We'll focus on the area's homegrown businesses, unique landmarks, and emerging talent. We're hoping to shine a well-deserved light on the local endeavors that promote eco-friendliness and self-sufficiency.
Welcome to another episode of Exploring the Neighborhood, and I am sitting here in our Springhill studio with a lovely girl called Renee. We met at the Springhill Farmers Market, where there are no farmers. Renee, why don't you tell us what you're doing this summer?
Well, I'm a food program coordinator with the town of Springhill and Oxford this summer, and that means that I create or go along with other events that are going on in the community and try and bring more local produce into the event and more healthy options as well.
And you cook up something new every week, I think.
Yeah, at the Springhill Farmers Market, I'm there on Thursdays every week. I bring local produce from some of the farms around the community, and I make healthy recipes, which included the strawberry salsa.
And what's on the menu for tomorrow?
It is a veggie quesadilla with purslane pesto that I'm getting at Broad Fork Farm.
Excellent. Our friends Brian and Shannon.
Yeah.
So they're tied to this as well, those sneaky guys. Are there other farms that are involved?
Yeah. Also getting some zucchini and kale from Side by Each Farm, which is in Amherst. And I, a lot of the time, get some local berries from the Oxford Berry Farm in Oxford. And yeah, there's some other places, but they aren't quite as busy as the other places that I get my produce from.
What are those other places?
Some of them are Whimsical Farm, which do CSA boxes, so they have a busy season right now, so I haven't been able to get a lot of produce from them. Same with Good Time Farm.
So you're just waiting until a little later in the season when they have too much produce.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Hopefully I'll still be there.
I know Whimsical, they are putting in extra greenhouses and irrigation all the time.
Okay.
So I think next year they're going to have to find more people to sell to.
Springhill Farmers Market is always looking for new vendors, so hopefully.
And how long have you been doing this?
I'm here for my school co-op from Acadia, so I'm just here for the summer, starting since May.
And do you live in Springhill area?
No, I actually live from East Hants, so I'm just here for the summer.
Oh, you're just here for the summer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So we import people from the Truro area to sell our farmers' stuff at the Springhill Farmers Market. An odd concept.
Yeah, I used to work at the Wolfville Farmers Market as well for a couple of years. Yeah.
So you have experience.
A little bit.
Who came up with this idea?
Well, I think this position has been in place for a couple of years. I'm not sure how much they kind of implemented the local produce aspect, but that was something that I felt was important. So I contacted a lot of the farms and asked if they would be interested, and some of them said yes.
This is your idea, or?
Not necessarily my idea. I think that it was an idea that's been in place before, but I wanted to focus more on the local produce. So ever since the Springhill Farmers Market has been in place, there's been a student that's been working on a grant here.
So how were you hired?
This was the job I wanted the most. It was the reason why I applied for my co-op at school. I went through an interview with Trudy and a couple other colleagues, and I got the job. I get a credit at the end of my degree that I've worked here and that I've done a couple of projects.
What is your mission then this year?
to promote local produce is my big thing, so that's something that I believe in myself, and make people more aware that there's healthy produce out there and that it's not as expensive as what people think, and giving people more ideas with what they can do with leftover produce so they aren't wasting their food.
We'd like to thank Renee for her time and effort. Next up, part 2 of our interview with Brian of Fundy Treasures.
Brian, you were telling me all of the things that are available in your store, and there's more.
Well, there's a few things. I was mentioning our jewelry line, which is 100% Bay of Fundy material. We're working on a few other lines that will come out in the fall that have to do with other provinces in Canada, and we're doing an exciting project with some other mediums that I can't reveal now, but they're going to be very exciting. If people keep in touch with our business, they will see. I'm very happy with it, and I've been working on it now for about 5 months.
It's like a secret.
Yeah, it's a little secret.
We're all intrigued.
Yes. Well, one other little thing is I also do stone guitar picks. I started making these a couple of years ago, and last year I was selected to go to the Canadian Country Music Awards and showcase them. And they're beautiful little stone guitar picks that will last forever. They don't chip, and they have a great sound on an acoustic guitar. And they're a lot of fun to make and a lot of fun to see people using and coming back to get, I love it, and now I'm going to get one for my dad. Or I love it and I'm going to get one for my son, or things like that.
I did have one back in the 70s, if I may say this. Yours compared to the one I had in the 70s is like a real guitar pick next to something that the Flintstones would make.
Well, I appreciate that. We've had some good success with them. A couple of country artists and a couple other people have bought quite a few, and we've had to send some out to Nashville and Los Angeles. So we're happy with it, and we're expanding the music line of the custom stone picks and different musical accessories as well, closer to the Christmas season.
Slides, perhaps?
Slides and some very nice decorative capos and things like that.
I've got to drop by. When you got the slide, let me check it out.
Sure.
There's slides where I'm going.
All right.
Besides the guitar picks, what else we got here?
One of our most important things that I love the most, because I've collected all of it over the last 25 years, we have a large display case when you come into our store, and it's a lot of historical photos and postcards that are not very common. Some old books and pictures of trains. In our business, we're huge on the history of the Upper Bay of Fundy, especially Joggins, being in Joggins. And the history of Joggins is quite remarkable. Unfortunately, as a lot of the listeners will know, they might have heard that we had a fire back in 1930 that wiped out more than half the town. So a lot of the documents were lost in some of the buildings that burnt. So over the last 25 years, I've been collecting a lot of documents that people are not familiar with. And I've been very lucky to be given some of them, to find some in the most unlikely places that you would ever suspect. And I'd love to know the story of how some of these got to their location before I found them.
Well, we found a 1924 Halifax newspaper, and I'll tell you where we found that.
In your floor?
Stripping wallpaper.
In the wallpaper. In the wallpaper, that's great.
The wallpaper, yeah.
We were stripping our floors, and we have papers from 1937 and 1952. So there's two different layers from two different layers of linoleum floor.
If you ever want a 1970s Eaton's catalog, we've got a room full of it.
Amazing.
Strange things. But there is a great history here. It's nice that someone collects and puts it on display, because once history's gone, it's gone for good.
I agree.
How did you get started here?
Well, I was born in Lower Cove. I went to school in River Hebert.
You're a local.
I am a local, yes. It's starting to be a rare thing now. And a young local that stayed here. Oh, actually, I moved away for a little bit. In my 20s, I moved away, and I lived in California for a number of years, and then moved back in the spring of 2007 as the Joggins site was getting ready to build the museum and go forward with the nomination for the UNESCO site. And it was very exciting to me because I had a background and a very keen interest in what's going on in the area. So coming back at that time just made sense, and it worked out great.
You do tours as well.
I do tours. That's something I've been doing since I was 12 years old. I've been giving tours on and off, and last year was the first full season I was able to give tours in a few years. And with our business here in Joggins, we give tours to people from around the world. Our tours run about 2 hours, but they encompass everything about the Upper Bay of Fundy. So we talk about not only fossils, but the history of the area, and the culture of the area 150 years ago, how different we are now compared to then, and what we had to do back then to survive day to day. It's completely different than what people think of when they come here to Joggins. It's a lot of fun meeting people from all over the world and just teaching them a little bit about our area and how we were back then.
Are you directly associated with the Joggins Museum?
Not directly. I did work there for the first 2 seasons it was open. We now have our own private business and do our own private tours. Almost every one of our tours is a private tour. So when a family calls up, they get a private, intimate tour that's very hands-on, very fun-oriented. It goes on for 2 hours, sometimes 3, and it's about learning and having a good time. It's not a lecture by any means. So I guarantee people 3 things. They'll have a great time. They'll see things they've never seen before. And when they're finished, they could bring a friend here and give them a tour. And I'm big on that.
Do you know Tim down in Parsboro?
I do. I was just talking to him a few days ago, actually.
He does tours down there, and we are dying to take one of those tours.
Yes. 2 totally different geological areas, but both are very significant. Parsboro being the oldest dinosaurs in Canada, and Joggins being a UNESCO site and having the oldest reptiles in the world. So the precursors to dinosaurs are reptiles, and without our little reptiles here in Joggins, then the dinosaurs wouldn't be in Parsboro. So we have a connected past in a way.
Both very interesting. We have yet to take the Joggins Fossil Museum tour. Seems our timing is never correct, but we're going to.
That's why I'm here.
Do that. Excellent. How long have you been in business?
In this store, we opened up July 4th of 2015, and then we reopened our store for this season just over a month ago now. We usually do the summer tourism season when the tourists are here, June, July, August, September, and October.
What do you do during winter?
We still have our store, and we can open by appointment, and some days we are open during the holidays. We'll open for a week for people to come in. We also have an online store, and we do a number of Christmas shows in the cities, and we do farmers markets in the spring and the fall as well. I continue to do farmers markets in the summertime as well, but only on certain days.
So you travel as well, shopping your wares, so to speak.
We do. We travel quite a bit, but that's how you get yourself out there. You could always advertise, which we do as well, online, social media. We're very big on that. But we find if you meet somebody face to face and they get to see what you're making with your own hands, and you get to talk to them for a few minutes, and they kind of see the passion that you have for your subject. They get it. It's something that you really can't do digitally. For example, today I just came back from the Pugwash Farmers Market, which is a fabulous market on the North Shore. And I met some very nice people, and they're coming for a tour soon, and sales were great. It was just a great day. The weather wasn't great, but people come out and support the local farmers markets. And when you meet somebody face to face, there's always a difference than sending an email, right?
Yeah, and that Pugwash Market is one that Debbie and I have to go to.
You'll love it. People talk about how great it is to receive a written note compared to an email. Well, I feel the same way about doing business. You talk to somebody face to face and get a feeling for what they like and don't like. And if you make something and put your all into it, you're going to have fans of your products.
Tell me, Brian, what's up for the future for Fundy Treasures?
Well, we have our store here. This year, we're just expanding. We have 7 different stores around the province that carry some of our products. We're very happy about that. This was the year that we were going to start expanding. Next year, we have a couple of guided tour packages that we plan on offering to bring people in and hopefully allow them to stay in the area for a longer period of time. That's what we want, right? We want an all-encompassing package that people can come, enjoy this area of the province without having to leave and then come back and feel like they're in a hurry. We want them to relax, and we take our time. You can go on the beach and maybe have a bonfire and things that they might not necessarily do ever, things that we do a lot. And we want people to experience what we experience here, and the reason why we decided as a fairly young couple and come here and start a family, buy a house, start a business. And there's reasons why we did that. So we want people to realize why we did that when they come here. Some people might not like the fossils, but we have lots of other things to show them. The beaches and the local history, the last 200 or 300 years of history in the Upper Bay of Fundy. When you start hearing some of the stories of what people had to go through and the hardships, it makes you realize what an amazing place this really is. And and what people had to go through winter after winter to survive.
And now they take it for granted.
A lot of people in the area, wherever you live, right? Sometimes if it's in your backyard, you're the first person not really to know about it. We have tons of people coming in from Halifax and Moncton and Ontario and the States and other parts of Nova Scotia that completely adore this area and would love to live here. And we suggest they look into it because it'd be great to have lots of new people coming in and really push the area forward.
Yeah, the secret's out. It's affordable.
Yeah, right? So we want people to realize you can come here, have a great time, and stay. We have people coming down sometimes once a week from as far as Moncton or Halifax just to come and see the beach because it's completely different every time they come here. And you can always find something new if you're into fossils, and some people come here specifically for beach glass or just the history or just to listen to the waves, because there's really lots of areas where you can go and just be alone. You don't have to be around other people, and some people just like that, the serenity.
The strip from here to Advocate, there are a lot of places where you can be completely alone.
Yes.
And get on the beach. Try doing that in Venice Beach or
correct,
anywhere in that vicinity. How did you manage to get your finances together? You won the lottery, obviously, or inherited a fortune, right?
No, we did a business plan up and we approached the local CBDC. We had to go through different steps to see if we be granted the loan, a business loan, and they liked our business plan a lot. We tweaked it a little bit for some things they didn't like, but at the end, we got our financing through that. It was able to buy our startup inventory for some of our products and some of the tools that we needed to make some of our products. It was a lot easier than going to a bank, and it was a better interest rate, to be honest with you.
That's good to hear. I've talked to a lot of people who had trouble going that route, but I'm glad it exists and I'm glad it worked out for you.
We'll continue to do what we originally planned on. And every year we look back at our business plan and we make a new future business plan like we were just talking about. So things that are going to happen in the future, what do we see happening? What do we want to happen? And what can we make happen?
So what do you want to make happen? Stumped you there.
Sort of. There's so many answers, right? What do I want to make happen? I want more accommodations in this area. So the basic tourism services are accommodations, arts and recreation, which we very much need around this area, food and beverage, and there's a few more, but those are the ones that we, in all the little areas around Nova Scotia, sometimes when you visit these beautiful spots, they might be lacking in certain ways. We could see in the near future ourselves perhaps going a direction maybe, or other people coming in and us giving a hand. We're all in it together, so we want to bring as many people into this area as possible. We want to get people off the highways. You drive by exit 3 and exit 4, you're missing out on a lot of history and a lot of beauty. And I understand if people are in a hurry and they have to get from point A to point B. But if you're on vacation and you know people that are on vacation, tell them to get off the highway and really explore the Upper Bay of Fundy, the Cumberland County area. The more that we get out and see, the more that we're excited to tell other people about the area.
So you spend time exploring the neighborhood as well?
Of course we do. Every time we close up the shop, we go out, we go for a drive. We have a little itinerary that we'll go to different spots. You know, I've been to a lot of them myself, but Laura hasn't been to all of them yet. And then there's new areas that we're like, well, what if we could find something like that there? Or what is the history of that area? So we'll do a cursory search and see if there's anything that pops up, usually online or any of the old county books that I have. And if there's nothing in that area, we're still going to go check it out because you never know. Somebody had to have lived there at one time, and it could be just a beautiful area that people have forgotten about. Or there could be an amazing waterfall in a back road that you didn't know about. It's lots of things to find. We find you don't have to go very far to see that. I do like to travel the whole province, and we have relatives throughout the province, so we can go to different spots. The more people get out and see this province, the more they're going to realize why other people come here and visit.
Absolutely. So who are your clients?
Well, for our tours, I've taken everybody from 5 years old to 95 years old. For our shop, our demographic is usually 18 to 60. We do have some kid things and some other products, but we have a wide range of material that really covers almost everybody. Our tours are not strenuous at all. They're very flat. I've never had anybody not be able to take a tour. We're constantly meeting new people that will say they've seen our products and wanted to check us out. So we're very big on word of mouth. We want it not to get too big too quick, and not like we're going to get big anyway, but just as long as we're comfortable and people like our products. Because if you have a good product and they keep coming back, then you know you have something good.
So is word of mouth your main marketing focus?
In my heart, I want to say yes. Because I look at somebody in the eyes and talking to them and explaining what we're doing. Because nobody else can explain what you do better than you can yourself, right? Especially when you're doing it every day. So we just work, just the two of us. We don't have anybody else works for us. So when we explain it, we know what we're talking about. We do a lot of online advertising as well, through our Facebook page, through our Twitter page, and our Instagram. And we have people following us from all over the world. And it's really remarkable when we put something new up. A couple hours later, somebody in Australia will like something that we put up. And they've never seen our products before. So that's how fast something like that can get around, when it wasn't very long ago that didn't happen at all. We do have a full website with an e-commerce page that anybody could order our products online, and we ship as well. We're just up the road from the post office, and we do our best to do as quickly as possible when they order something. We realize that there's people that might not be able to come and visit us right away, but if they like our products and they would like to buy something, we try to make it as easy as possible.
And you accept all forms of payment?
We do. Credit card, e-transfers, online, PayPal online, and then in our store, cash and credit, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and check. And then at the farmers markets, I also take the same payments that I take here in the store as well.
Super. And your partner's name?
Her name is Laura Thompson. We consider each other husband and wife. We've known each other for quite a few years. We have a 2-year-old little daughter, Sadie, and she's the reason why we do all this.
And you spent some time in California.
I did, 8 years.
What were you doing?
I went down to California and worked different jobs and just tried something different for a while. It was exciting. There was lots of things to do. It wasn't as busy as I kind of thought when I first went. I traveled when I was younger a little bit to Europe and saw some of the larger cities. I ended up being in a really good area. I think that helped a lot. I wasn't right in downtown Los Angeles. I was in the valley part of Los Angeles. I was at a place called Sherman Oaks, and it's just a nice, clean, safe area with a boulevard and lots of things to do within a 1-mile radius. And you could hop on the highway, which is a minute away, and kind of go anywhere in the city you wanted to. So I was very lucky I got into a good area. But I had a number of jobs that I loved for different reasons, and I got to do some of the hobbies that I've always wanted to do, and I learned a lot. It was great.
And why'd you move here then?
Even though I lived in Los Angeles, I came home for 2 weeks, twice a year. Once in the summertime and once at Christmas time. Every year. I wouldn't miss it. And first thing I'd do is go on the beach. Also see family as well, but the beach was very important to me, as it was as a child. When I moved back, it was all about the beach. And then the UNESCO site was going through, and I helped out with that. And I gave the guided fossil walk to the UNESCO Scientific Advisory Committee. I was lucky enough to give that tour. And they're the advisory committee that advises the UNESCO board on if Joggins should be a UNESCO site or not. So they kind of had to prove it scientifically that we were a site that was recommended by this world board. So I was very lucky to do that. And I missed the Bay of Fundy a lot. And that was throughout the whole trip. I'd always miss it. I still have really good friends where I lived, and I talked to a couple of them through email quite a bit, and perhaps we'll take a trip one of these days soon, see some more Dodger games and Laker games, and it was great.
Did you ever get a chance to go to a hockey game there?
I did. One of my bosses actually had season tickets to all the major sports in Los Angeles, and he had very good seats, and he hated sports. I think it was more of a tax write-off. So we got to see the Los Angeles Kings quite a bit. I got to see a lot of hockey players that I kind of grew up watching. I got some hockey pucks from different hockey players, and the Dodger games were probably my favorite because the history of the Dodgers moving from Brooklyn to LA in 57, 58.
As someone who grew up mostly in Montreal, seeing the Canadians play in the old Forum, drinking lots of stale beer and eating
right?
hot dogs. The strangest thing I found was the plush leather seats and being served Mexican food and margaritas. And they bring it to you. And having so much room to sit instead of being cramped and way up in the God's country, they call it, is a completely different experience.
Nosebleed seats.
Yeah. But I found people in LA, exactly like you said, they have these wonderful tickets, they have all this wonderful opportunity, and they don't care about hockey.
They don't care. No. After I changed jobs, I didn't have those same tickets, and I did try going in the nosebleed seats because they were so cheap. $5 to go see a Major League Baseball game. And they're the best fans. And I had the greatest time.
I enjoyed the baseball games as well in LA, but I must admit, if you wanted to meet fellow Canadians, you went to hockey games when Canadian teams were playing the LA Kings. The only people cheering would be the Canadians.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody else cared.
Or they didn't appreciate the game.
Not at all.
They'd see something and they just wouldn't react, and I'm like, that was amazing. They're there just because it's the cool thing to do on that Thursday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brian, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I hope all the best for your business, and I know we'll be dropping in very often because we just live down the road.
If anybody has any questions or anything they have to say at all, they can contact us at our Facebook page. So it's Fundy Treasures, or we have a website, fundytreasures.ca. Or if someone wants to email us, it's on that as well, fundytreasures@gmail.com.
Can they call you? Do you have a phone number?
We do. It's 902-664-9697.
All right. And if you don't know how to get a hold of Brian, then just drive down to Joggins, look for the biggest sign, Fundy Treasures, stop right in.
You can't miss it.
And your hours are basically?
We're open every day from 9 to 6.
There you go. 7 days a week? Or
7 days a week, right up until the end of September. And then we'll cut back the hours a little bit. All that will be based on our website and our Facebook page as well.
Well, we wish you all the best for the future.
I appreciate the talk.
Okay, time has run out. If you'd like to contact us, our email is scotiaheritageproductions@gmail.com.
When it comes to local business, arts, crafts, and entertainment, we'll try our best to provide a global perspective on our community and remind listeners that where one regularly chooses to spend their money is often much more powerful than the occasional vote at the ballot box.
So, help out your talented neighbors and enjoy the unique diversity of what Cumberland, Westmoreland has to offer. And ultimately, you'll be helping yourself. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Exploring the Neighborhood is sponsored by Kansa, your Careers Nova Scotia Centre.
So, tune in next week for another episode of Exploring the Neighborhood with your hosts, Thor and Debbie, here on CICR 99.1 on your FM dial.